Hi guys, I'm Diane and this is Narrow Dreams. And so today I'm going to talk about temperature. When you live on a boat, one of the questions you will hear all the time is, do you get cold in winter? How do you manage to keep warm? Now, I have mentioned on other videos on this channel, that is not a problem at all. If it's a little bit chilly, you put a jumper on. If it's a bit chillier than that, but not quite cold enough to light the fire, wrap yourself up in a blanket. But when it does get cold enough to light the fire, you light the fire, and then basically you open all the doors and windows because it makes it that hot. But you can keep it, once you get it going, you can keep it at a nice temperature by just closing down the flaps that let in air, and it'll just smoulder away, and it'll stay in overnight doing that. So that's not an issue. What people never ask you, that is much more of an issue, is how do you keep cool in summer? If you can imagine living in a metal box in the temperatures that we've had recently, it can be quite a challenge. So this is our first full summer aboard. We've been on board now almost a year. We got Birdsong in August last year, so we did come through quite a lot of warm weather, because if you can remember, last year it was a really hot summer. But this year we've gone sort of all the way through. Well, not yet, but you know, we started at the beginning of summer and we've had some really hot days. So I wanted to share my tips with you in keeping you cool. So you may notice behind me, it's a nice bright day, but the curtains are closed. This is not because I'm antisocial and I don't want to see out, or I don't want anybody to see in. This is actually the side that faces out onto the canal. It's also the side that the sun comes round on. So most days we've been keeping those closed because it actually does keep the temperature down. If you can keep the sun from hitting the boat first thing in the morning, it will keep that temperature down. So keep them closed all day. I've still got the windows open behind those curtains because there is a breeze, and that is putting in some cool air. I've also got the windows on the other side of the boat open. If it gets really hot, provided it's not hotter outside than it is inside. If it's hotter outside than it is inside, keep your windows closed. If it's hotter inside, and especially if there is a breeze outside, the top half, you can see the hopper window there, so that top half that is hinged will actually lift right out, so you're left with a hole, which is a lot more space for a breeze to come in. So if it's really warm, you can lift those out, obviously put them somewhere safe because you don't want those getting broken, but you can lift them out and it'll bring in more breeze and cool it down a little bit. Obviously keep hydrated, make sure you have lots of drinks. It does help as well. This is not a sort of an instant solution, but it does help if you don't have a black or very dark roof to your boat. Ours is cream, which reflects back the heat. If it's black, it just soaks it up and your boat will get very hot inside. A lot of people open their hatch doors as well. We've got 4 cats that we only let out when we're there because there are a lot of dogs on the marina. When we were in a house, they were house cats. They didn't go outside, but they do now, but only when we're there. So I don't leave the hatch open all the time, but if we are out with the cats, I'll open the hatch. I will also leave the doors open, and that just gets a through flow of air. That's not easy to say. A through flow of air if you have all the doors open. So that's another thing that you can do. And we're in a marina most of the time, so we're on shore power. So an absolute godsend if you're on shore power. I don't think it would be a good idea if you're not, but we've got 2 fans, and they do really take the temperature down. You can get like 12 volt air conditioning units that people use in caravans and things like that. I've been told they're very good. We don't have one of those, but we do have the fans. Generally at night, because that's when it is most problematic really, because you can't get to sleep if you're too hot. So generally at night what we do is we leave one in the saloon area, which is where our son sleeps on the sofa bed, and we take one down into the bedroom area just to keep it cool enough for us to get to sleep. In our bedroom we've got portholes and they don't open. The one in the bathroom does. It's a split one that the top half drops in, but the 2 in the bedroom do not open, so there's no way other than opening the back doors of getting a lot of air in there. Obviously we don't want to sleep with the back doors open at night. So again, to reduce the temperature during the day, because if it doesn't get up you don't have to try and cool it as much, we leave the bungs in to stop the sun getting in, keep it dark, and it does keep it cooler. So I hope those tips have been helpful. If you've got any tips, any ways that you find to keep cool, then if you just put them in the comments, because that's great. It'd help me, and I'm sure it would help everybody else as well, because it really can be quite unpleasant if it's a bit too hot. But failing all else, if you can't cool down, just untie your ropes and go for a little cruise like we did the other day. You might, of course, obviously be able to cool down a bit outside as well, so you could go and sit down. But this was the temperature on the hottest day that we had, sitting outside under a tree in the shade. So it's not always the answer. I hope you've enjoyed watching. Thanks for joining me. Please do give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.